Speed fix. In this video, I want to talk about how to stop click fraud or fake clicks on Google Ads. So we're getting asked this more and more lately. We've been talking about in our mail outs and just generally with customers over the last 6 months that Google really has become a paid search engine with some free results. And we've been recommending to customers that they should start running brand ads and just get more aggressive about Google Ads, as we are as well. So then naturally the conversation comes to fake clicks and click fraud. So I wanted to talk about our strategy here. It's not perfect and it has some big gaps, but it's better than nothing. And particularly in some markets where they are super competitive. Things like local services, plumbers, for example, can be really competitive, where cost per click can be 20 or 30 bucks, which is huge. We want to limit fake clicks and click fraud as much as possible. Let me just fix my microphone. I'll pause this for a sec. All right, we're good to go. All right, so let's talk about the types of fake clicks you get. So the strategy to use or the strategy that's going to be effective really depends on what type of clicks you're getting. So let's talk about the few that we see. So random ad hoc clicks from competitors. That's very kind of rudimentary and basic. Competitors just clicking on your ads. This can be pretty organized as well. We have some customers that we know that they have competitors where competitors sounds ridiculous, but competitors tell their staff to Google our customer every day and click on their ads. So there are the random ad hoc clicking from competitors can actually be quite organized random clicking from competitors. And that one's pretty easy to block because it's predictable. So that's one. Someone using a click fraud tool like Google Walker. So Google Walker is one click fraud tool that we know of, and it uses a whole bunch of basically hacked computers to go on run searches and click on ads. And this one is probably the most difficult to stop because it looks like real visitors, but it does have a pattern. So a lot of the time you will see traffic, Google Walker traffic, coming from overseas locations doing local searches that you know that, and there's a volume of searches that you know are just not going to be searched. They're like suburbs with not a big population, or suburbs you're not doing a lot of business in, for example, or just searches that are weird that no English speaker would search in that sort of volume, that it would be a random search term that would get used now and again. So that's click fraud tools, like tools to do click fraud, not protect from click fraud. The next one is scrapers and crawlers just loading ads. This one can be or is more common now in the AI era. So this one we're seeing more and more of. And then it's not really click fraud, but they're kind of not fake clicks either, but they're customers who are clicking on ads instead of organic links, or even staff if you have a bigger business. So let's talk about these. So these are the types of clicks. So let's talk about what we need to do. So use a click fraud tool. So this is probably click fraud protection tool. So just to be clear, there are tools to protect from click fraud, and then there's tools to do click fraud. So this is a click fraud protection tool. Let's just write that there just to be clear. The tool that we use is called ClickFraud. They're all roughly the same. They monitor clicks and then they check the IP address of clicks, and based on a certain rule set, they add those IP addresses into the blocking list on your Google Ads campaigns. Now, the problem is that though that block list can only have 500 IP addresses, so it can fill up pretty quickly if you have busy campaigns, but it's better than nothing. So we use ClickFraud, but there's half a dozen that are all similarly priced. They have different pricing structures. So which one is most suitable for you just depends on, pricing structure, and if you're managing multiple sites or whatever, or multiple ad campaigns, so to speak, ad accounts. I'll link you up to our website. I'll list some on there, so some common ones so you can compare. But generally speaking, in the click fraud tool, we set up rules to block or filter countries that are outside our target country. We block VPNs generally. This one's becoming more problematic because now Apple has a VPN built into iPhones. So this one, depending on how tech savvy your customers are, that may be an issue. For like local businesses, which are commonly attacked in terms of click fraud. That's probably okay to use still. We leave it on. For e-commerce businesses, it might be 50-50, or if you're serving a pretty tech-savvy market, that might be a problem. Like I said, they're not super effective because they can't stop the click from happening in the first place. So they're pretty good at stopping second or third clicks, but not the initial click. We also have the rules set up, I think, for most local business, we allow 2 clicks, or 3 clicks in a 7-day period. So that stops misclicks. Generally, Google won't charge you after the first click if it's in the same day, or if someone clicks on ads a few times in, the same 10 or 15 minute block, you'll generally be okay, and those clicks won't be counted. I just want to say one of the issues with click fraud isn't necessarily Google detecting the clicks and refunding the money, or what Google calls invalid clicks. One of the issues is them burning the whole budget in a day. So say you've got, let's just say for argument's sake, $100 a day budget, and the clicks are $1 a click, and your click fraud people are running up 90 clicks, like that only leaves you, 10 real clicks within your budget, even if Google refunds the $90 after the fact. So some of the click fraud is really about just making your ads not perform, chewing up your budget, and the ads turn off. So that is one other reason that people would do click fraud, not even just necessarily to cost you money. So that is another kind of vector or way they can attack you, is just burning up your budget. So click fraud tools, and I should just write that in there, that, generally block after 3+ clicks in a 7-day period. I think that's what we have our setup. It's something like that as well. And the number of people who click more than once really drops off dramatically. So, it might be something like 5% of people click 2 times, and then 1% of people click 3 times, or even 0.5%. So that's fairly good in terms of, not blocking real users or setting that threshold up. So that's that. So that's click fraud protection tool. So set one of those up. Generally, they also have some sort of pixel that can go on the website as well, so they can detect whether the user has gone to the website and done anything. So, and there's some other settings in there. ClickSys has some that it doesn't allow browsers that don't have JavaScript, and a few other things. So anyway, that's click fraud tools, or click fraud protection tools. So you need one of those ideally. And generally they're worth it. So I think we pay about $100 a month for click fraud, and it certainly is going to block more than that in saved clicks. When you're spending $20 or $30 a click, those numbers work out well. Okay, let's talk about what we can do on the Google side. So we can narrow the targeting of Google Ads. So there is some targeting, particularly we have a local business. So the geographic targeting in a campaign here. You can set up this is actually live campaigns. So where are we? So you have this option here, presence or interested, or presence only. So we want to set that to presence only. So we only want to be targeting people who are in the location, not just showing the interest. Now, you need to adjust this on a campaign by campaign basis. So some customers, this is going to be a different kind of story, but for this particular customer, a local business, someone outside the geographic area is not going to be interested in those services. So just for this particular instance, this works well, and generally it will work well. So use the presence, not presence, and interested. So that's one way. Google say don't use a maximize clicks or click-based bidding approach, which makes sense, but a lot of our campaigns, we still don't use Google's AI or trust their AI. So, again, here's where we're getting to the territory of the art of Google Ads. So you need to decide what you're doing there. But Google reckons that their AI or automated bidding resolves this problem. I'm not sure that is the case. And in general, Google tells you things to make them more money, not to be more effective. So just keep that in mind when taking these recommendations from Google with a grain of salt. An easy one, mind the negative keywords regularly. Just go through and make sure that things in there aren't getting a lot of clicks that shouldn't be, and just cleaning up and making sure that your negative keyword lists are up to date. So that will help a lot. Run brand ads. We do this for a few reasons. One is we have this issue, customers and even staff clicking ads instead of organic links. So for almost all clients we see, partial brand matches quite often trigger their Google ads. So we want to have a separate set of brand ads that are solely targeting brand names, to appear instead of the the standard lead generation campaigns for whatever services or products they sell. That way, the clicks are going to be cheaper to start with, and we segment out people searching for the brand name as opposed to products and services. So it just makes it cleaner and just makes those clicks cheaper, gives us a bit more control. So we'd say to all clients now, run brand ads unless there's a particular reason not to. And the large reason for that is basically everything above the fold, particularly mobile, is ads. So even if someone searches your brand, competitor ads are going to trigger. And we do actually run ads for customers on their competitor brands, and they do actually perform and generate leads. So that's another reason you need to defend your brand in Google Ads. So even if it's just $5 a day, we would say run those brand ads. But anyway, in the context of ClickFraud, we're just trying to reduce expensive clicks. So it allows us more control over those brand terms and allows us to bring the price down. So that's what that's about. And similarly, having a well-optimized Google Maps listing is going to help here as well, because it's much more likely that the Google Maps listing will appear and take up a huge chunk of real estate in the search results when someone searches or does a brand search if you have a good listing. So we'd recommend that as well. So that's things to do on Google Ads itself. You can also use negative targeting. It's not in here, negative targeting for the locations. So we do that for campaigns. We have negative targeting for every country. So we would do that as well, which just kind of strengthens this presence only kind of setup. So that's that. Next one. So Google Ads Pixel. So make sure you're running the Google Ads Pixel, Google Ads tag, and you're not pausing JavaScript on your site. Or not pausing the JavaScript until the user interacts with your site. Now, the reason for this is that it seems to help Google identify invalid clicks. So if someone clicks through, it seems to be one of the signals that they're using is whether the pixel gets a page view. And that makes sense. If someone's clicking on an ad and there's no page view on the other side of that click, then it's much more likely that that's an invalid click. So that makes sense there. So just making sure the tag works and it's not paused, so it is functioning properly, so it is capturing page views on the site. That seems to help identify the invalid click. So it won't stop the click fraud, but it will make sure we get more of our money back. So that's an easy one. And then the last one is using Cloudflare, and we use Cloudflare all over the place for site speed stuff, for SEO, for firewall and security stuff. So we use Cloudflare country blocking. Well, I shouldn't actually say blocking there. We'll say filtering. So one of the strongest measures we can use inside Cloudflare is filtering traffic outside our target country. So we have on our website, and I'll link you up to this Cloudflare firewall rules page. And we talk about a whole bunch of ways that we use Cloudflare, and even on the free plan, you can use these rules. So blocking SEO bots and crawlers. But if we scroll down here, filtering traffic outside your target country, and this is the one we want to use. So in this example here, I'll see if I can just zoom in here so you can see. So this example, we are filtering traffic outside of North America, essentially. So if the customer or the visitor is not in Canada or US, it's not a known bot, and it's not trying to renew an SSL certificate, or it's not an uptime monitor, then it runs them through Cloudflare's managed challenge, which is like a capture type thing, which you would have seen before. You go to a website and it's like got a checking your security kind of page. That's the Cloudflare challenge, managed challenge. It's kind of like a capture. So we do not use block here at all, and you want to avoid using block because there still will be a percentage of your visitors of genuine traffic that for some reason their traffic gets routed outside the country and back in again, or they might just genuinely be overseas, or just not in the country and trying to buy something from you or on your website. But the reason we use this, one, it makes you a harder target in the first place. So it stops automated scripts and crawlers which are continuously scouring the web looking for security holes and things to exploit. It makes you a harder target. So it stops you being such a soft target and kind of flagging up on these tools. So it gives you some baseline level of protection from those type of attacks. So it makes you much harder to target. And then also this will further help Google identify invalid clicks. Again, for the same reason that the customer the fake clicker clicks on an ad and then can't load up the website. If it's an automated tool, it won't be able to get past that that capture or the checking your security message. It has to do the, choose the 5 bicycles or whatever it is. But it will make that pixel work better for you. So again, it'll help Google identify more of those invalid clicks. So yeah, and that works on the Cloudflare free plan. So there's no reason really not to use it. There's very few instances where we see a genuine reason not to be using Cloudflare. It's the fastest content delivery network in the world for WordPress sites anyway. Fastest DNS host, and it has a whole bunch of security and site acceleration features. And if you're using a host that has Cloudflare Enterprise built in, you can still use your own Cloudflare account. Cloudflare have changed how they're set up. Works now. Previously, you could only use 2 Cloudflare accounts stacked on top of each other. If you had an enterprise account, it's a feature called Orange to Orange inside Cloudflare. But now it's available on all plans. So even if you're using something like Cloudways, Rocket.net, Kinsta, WP Engine, all their direct integrations with Cloudflare, you can still use your own Cloudflare account in front of that and set up firewall rules like this. Generally, we would say don't use direct integration anyway. It's going to be much better if you use your own account. One of the reasons for that is there's no traffic quota when you use your own account, whereas if you're getting Cloudflare through a host or integrating through their Cloudflare setup, usually there's a pretty low traffic quota, like 100 gigabytes or something like that. Anyway, that's it. I'll leave you to it. I'll link you up to a blog post in the description of this video where you can learn more about this. If you need more help with your website, head over to our site, wpspeedfix.com. There's a few things we can do for you: site speed optimization, technical SEO, Google Ad stuff. If you want help, there's a free site audit option here where you can submit an audit, tell us what you need help with, or submit an audit request, tell us what you need help with. One of the team will review your site and come back to you within a day or so. We also have some free tools you can use here: free audit, free SEO audit tool, free Core Web Vitals report, and free site speed test. Those all take about 60 to 90 seconds to run and don't need an opt-in. So that's it. I'll leave you to it. If you have any questions, just post in the comments below. Cheers.